Go.
Right and left common carotid artery.
Left common carotid, right common carotid.
Internal mammary, artery and vein.
Internal mammary vein. Internal mammary artery.
Right and left subclavian, artery and vein.
Right subclavian artery, right subclavian vein, left subclavian artery, left subclavian vein.
Brachiocephalic artery.
Brachiocephalic artery.
Brachiocephalic vein, or the
And nominate.
Yeah. Anterior and posterior vena cava.
Anterior vena cava. Posterior vena cava.
The aorta.
Aorta.
Aortic arch.
Aortic arch.
Pulmonary trunk.
Pulmonary trunk.
Pulmonary artery.
Pulmonary artery will be branching off of the pulmonary trunk.
And then the pulmonary veins.
Pulmonary veins.
Coronary artery and vein.
Coronary vein. Coronary artery.
Intercostal artery. Can't see the vein.
That's the start of it, way down there. And you can follow it all the way up the rib. And then back here, we can also see the azygous vein.
External jugular.
External jugular vein. And there's also the internal jugular vein. It's following the carotid.
Transverse jugular.
Transverse jugular would be around this area, and it would go across.
Subscapular artery and vein.
So the subscapular artery and vein are going to branch off of the subclavian. So up here, we have the start of the subscapular artery. And this is the subscapular vein, although it is poorly dyed. You can see where it traces back to the subclavian, subscapular vein.
The brachial artery.
Brachial artery. It's kind of nestled in under the biceps brachii.
And vein if you have it.
There's no good vein on this one, but it would be around this area.
Common carotid.
Common carotid. We have a left and a right.
External carotid.
External carotid. So this itty bitty branch here is going to be the internal carotid, and then once it gets up here, it starts to curve around the jaw, and once it starts to curve here, it is the external carotid.
Moving down to the gut. Celiac artery.
So we have the descending aorta. We have the celiac artery.
Left gastric artery.
Left gastric.
Splenic artery.
Splenic artery.
Is there a vein?
There is a splenic vein. It's the yellow thing right here. And both of these lead over here to the spleen.
Hepatic artery.
So the hepatic artery is deep to the left gastric, down in there.
You have the gastric artery.
We don't have a gastric, but we also have the continuation of the hepatic. You can see it right in there.
Renal artery and renal vein.
Renal artery, renal vein.
We have the cranial or anterior mesenteric artery and vein.
Anterior mesenteric artery.
And
And then
vein.
we do have the vein, anterior mesenteric vein, and these are going to turn into the intestinal arteries and intestinal vein. You have an intestinal artery and vein together right here.
Caudal mesenteric artery and vein.
You have a good caudal mesenteric artery
Going off the aorta.
here, coming off the dorsal aorta.
Do you have the caudal mesenteric vein?
I believe it would be this vein here.
Next to it. Okay. Hepatic portal vein.
Hepatic portal vein. Is this nice big yellow vessel. It goes all the way up. We can follow it going into the liver.
The adrenolumbar artery and vein.
So adrenolumbar, break it down, adrenal gland, and lumbar meaning back, so we got the vein. And the artery is not as well defined, but you can kind of see some of the red vascular tissue back here.
Okay, we have the deep ileal circumflex artery.
To find the deep iliocircumflex, it's helpful to go from the caudal mesenteric and then go just a little bit further down. So peel back the posterior vena cava, and those are the deep iliocircumflex artery and vein.
Very small.
Very small.
External and internal iliac artery and vein.
So we have the external iliac artery. We also have the internal iliac artery. We have the common iliac vein. Down here, there's the internal iliac vein and the external iliac vein.
We have the deep femoral artery and vein.
Right here we have the deep femoral artery. It's branching off of the external iliac artery.
First one.
And then the vein, the deep femoral vein, is right next to the deep femoral artery.
Femoral artery and vein.
Femoral artery, femoral vein,
Saphenous artery and vein.
saphenous artery, and then I do not think that the dye was successful with the vein.
And then the caudal, like a medial sacral artery and vein.
Caudal artery right here, right in the middle, and then I do not think the dye was successful with the vein.